Historians generally agree that the moment Luther's schism began when the day he nailed the 95 Theses against indulgence to the door of All Saints Church in Wittenberg. The year was 1517. Luther still took 4 years to be excommunicated. 4 years they were very profitable for him and for his heresy, which was able to spread especially in the northern Europe. That is also a common opinion of historians. Well, I am convinced that what happened this weekend is the beginning of a new schism, comparable to that symbolic act of nailing the thesis against indulgence on the door of the Church of All Saints. What has happened this weekend has been the conclusion of the German synod. They have not avoided the clash. They have not tried to bring positions closer to what the Vatican had been saying and what it is the doctrine of the Catholic Church. They have openly gone to the clash, and they have also done it using their beloved dictatorial methods. For example, prohibiting anonymous voting, that the votes were nominal, that everyone knew what the other one voted. So they have achieved that on an important number of bishops obtained, and that only a small group of bishops voted against what was being approved. Why did these bishops abstain? Out of fear. They have not been brave. They have been very cowardly. But they harsh men to which are subjected to those who do not agree with those who officially claim to be tolerant, has made them not to defend their principles, and thus these conclusions, which are clearly schismatic, have been approved. For example, first, to ask that the obligatory celibacy of priests be abolished. Second, that the laity, especially lay women, be allowed to preach homilies at Mass, celebrate baptisms and weddings. Third, that all types of couples can be blessed regardless of whether or not they are married in church. Couples composed of homosexuals, couples composed of people who are not even civilly married, or couples composed of people who are civilly married but not sacramentally married. Blessing of couples of all types, and in fact it has already been approved. It has been decided that a type of liturgy especially adapted to these cases has to be created. Fourth, completed acceptance of gender ideology. Gender is no longer sex, is no longer a question linked to biology, but a question linked to the one's own will, to one's own feelings, and it is also changeable. Today you can feel like a man, tomorrow a woman, and the day after tomorrow a man again, or the other way around. And as a consequence, people who are physically women but who declare themselves men because they feel they are men, that is to say, transsexual people, are to be accepted in the seminarians and reach the priesthood. Transsexual can be ordained priests even if they are physically women, and naturally, once they are ordained priests, or more precisely, once they are ordained priestess, they can say again without any problem that they have changed sex again because they have stopped feeling like men and started to feel like women again. One of the few German bishops who have decided to remain Catholic in response to this recalled the Anglican Church has just gone into a schism over the approval of blessing to homosexual couples, and that what was approved in the German Synod is much more than all of that, and that the Anglican Church is the perfect model, the finished model of that misnamed tolerance, in which you can believe and do whatever you want as long as you do not interfere with what others believe and do. Well, Not even the Anglican tolerance has avoided the rapture within the ecclesial communion, would they have decided to approve in England the blessing of homosexual couples. This German bishop has said, quote, "This is much worse than that. They have gone into schism. What is going to happen to us?" End quote. That is the question right now. It is no longer a question of some Vatican cardinals or of the highest level, such as Parolin and Ladaria, for example, intervening because they have already done so and they have been ignored. Now it is time for the Petrine ministry to intervene. That is to say, it is the historical moment in which the Holy Father, in function of the Petrine ministry, that he and only he has, and no one of his cardinals have, even though they speak in his name and by his mandate, it is time for the Holy Father, making use of his Petrine ministry, which has the duty to confirm his brothers in the faith, to maintain the faith that the pontifics have received one after another since Peter's, to intervene. This is essential, and that there be clear norms and absolutely prohibitions so that it is manifest that it is clear, without any doubts, that any bishop who excuses that which has been approved by the German synod must be immediately dismissed. The 4 years that were lost with Luther cannot be lost now. We are in times where communication are infinitely faster than in Luther's time. If we don't act quickly and decisively, I repeat, by one who has the Petrine ministry, many will consider that this initiative is a tacit permission to do what has been approved by the German Synod. The same thing will immediately begin to be applied in Belgium, in Switzerland, in the United States, and even in some places in Latin America, I have no doubts. And what happened with the Lutheran Germans' heresy is little compared to what can happen right now. I believe that we must continue to pray a lot, but it seems to me that at this moment prayer is no longer enough. Now it's time to act, and act on the part of him who has the responsibility to do so. What will the cardinals and bishops do the day that there will be transsexual priests celebrating Mass? And what will be the faithful do? Is everyone going to remain silent like the dead? Have we reached this point of passivity? We must pray, and we must act. Until next week, God willing.